First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Governor Rick Scott was in Gainesville today to deliver a hefty check to Alachua County schools. Good evening. It's May 19th, 2015. I'm Molly Robinson.
And I'm Marie Edinger. Thanks for joining us this morning. Governor Scott awarded 20 schools in the county more than $1 million for high student achievement. WUFT's Samantha Sosa got a chance to speak with him today. She joins us now in the studio. Samantha, what happened this morning?
Well, that's right, ladies. Everyone at the school is really excited to receive this honor for Governor Scott, and he seems to be really serious about making school a priority in his budget this year. This funding is part of a school recognition program distributing more than $124 million to schools all over Florida who either have sustained or improved their performance. With a special legislative session quickly approaching this June, Governor Rick Scott appears to be making education a priority. Today, he awarded more than $1.2 million to 20 Alachua County public schools for their excellence.
This is an exciting day for Alachua County, for the boys and girls, and for our teachers and administrators. We're really taking the school system to the next level.
Dr. Roberts has a goal in the next 5 years to make sure 100% of high school students graduate on time. Governor Scott presented the check at Stephen Foster Elementary School with Superintendent Owen Roberts, Mayor Ed Brady, Representative Keith Perry, and school board members in attendance. The state legislature will meet June 1st to discuss the budget, and a government shutdown may be looming. But Scott doesn't anticipate any cuts to education to resolve it.
I can't imagine there'll be budget cuts. You know, my budget that I proposed would have the highest per pupil funding in the history of the state. We already have the highest funding of K-12 education. But it's important to me that we don't have a government shutdown, but I'm optimistic.
You guys are doing a great job, so your school will get a check because of all your hard work. And so you should feel very good.
Schools were chosen to get this award based on their student achievement. Governor Scott congratulated the kids that sit in these very classrooms for achieving A status. Of the $1.2 million check, Stephen Foster received $46,000.
Education is really important to us, and we put a lot of time and energy from public to parents to students and teachers.
School staff and advisory councils can decide how this funding is spent. It could go to teacher bonuses, school materials, or anything else officials deem necessary. Superintendent Roberts hopes schools will use this as motivation to continue improving.
Thank you, Samantha. Well, Governor Scott is getting some pushback on his call for hospitals to open their books and help each other out if the feds cut off special funding for treating the poor and uninsured. Florida's deal for low-income pool money will soon expire, and Medicaid issues are holding up its renewal. Scott has suggested hospitals could adopt a revenue-sharing program similar to professional sports teams, but many hospitals call that a new tax. State lawmakers know the stakes are high with talk of possible closures of clinics or hospitals.
Reimbursement comes through this low-income pool funding, so it's huge for this area.
The regular session ended early with the House refusing to accept a budget with Medicaid expansion. Between Medicaid projections and low-income pool funding, the House and Senate were $4 billion apart in their budget proposals. Well, it was pretty hot out today in north central Florida, but there are some storms that are bringing relief to some areas.
I know. UF forecaster Rebecca Kopelman joins us now live from the Weather Center. Rebecca, where are those storms now?
Molly, Marie, right now there is a severe thunderstorm warning for Duval County, and most of the activity is east of I-75, and that's where it will likely remain this evening. But these cells are nearly stationary, but the one right now in Duval is dumping a lot of rainfall and nearly 400 strikes of lightning in the past just 10 minutes. But for other areas, Bradford and Union counties, or Bradford and Oh, yes, I'm correct there. Bradford and Union counties, is producing a few small cells that are, once again, very slow moving and dumping a little bit of rainfall right now, but most of the activity is going to stay east of I-75 and will start to fade once the sun sets this evening. And most areas will be dry by the midnight hour, but other areas still warm. The heat index still in the low 90s in most areas, and then temperatures will start to drop once that rain fades to the low 90s or low 70s. Quite muggy out there for this evening. I'll let you know when rain chances drop in my main weather forecast. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. If you like walking at San Falasco or Morningside, there's a bit of nature you can now visit on the south side of Gainesville. Sweetwater Wetlands Park is now opening on weekends only. The man-made swamp off Williston Road is a key filter for stormwater reaching Paynes Prairie. The $26 million project was designed to improve water quality in Paynes Prairie and protect the Floridian aquifer. Since 2009, the City of Gainesville, Department of Public Works, and Gainesville Regional Utilities have worked to complete more than 125 wetlands and ponds.
Water flows in here through Sweetwater Branch. Nitrogen is removed in the wetland cells that you see behind me here. And when the water flows out onto Paynes Prairie, it flows out in a cleaner state than when it came.
Visitors using the walkways may discover a variety of bird species and native plants, and maybe even see some alligators. The park is now open to the public on Saturdays and Sundays from 7 a.m. to sunset. The entrance is off Williston Road, a little east of 13th Street.
Mayor Ed Brady heard concerns this morning about recent crimes at Dignity Village.
Representatives from the Florida Police Benevolent Association voiced concerns about an area they say is unregulated and unsafe. Jonathan Munoz joins us now in the newsroom. Jonathan, what are both parties saying about the meeting?
Well, the meeting happened this morning at 8, and both the mayor and the Florida PBA representatives agreed that it went well, and they're hopeful they'll be able to solve some of the problems before they get worse.
Back in April, the Florida Police Benevolent Association sent Mayor Ed Brady a letter requesting a meeting to discuss the operation of Dignity Village, the area directly around Grace Marketplace. Today, that meeting happened.
Mayor Brady allowed us the opportunity to express some of our concerns that the PBA addressed in our letter with the safety of the residents at Dignity Village and also the first responders, being paramedics, law enforcement.
Those safety concerns have been highlighted in the past few months.
The recent violent and drug crimes at Dignity Village prompted PBA to want to meet with Mayor Ed Brady over safety concerns.
In April, a stabbing incident occurred at Dignity Village just 12 hours before a similar incident involving a machete took place. Problems with drugs and alcohol have also been a concern, and even a meth lab was discovered at the site a week after the stabbings. In the letter, the Florida PBA points out what they call, quote, the city's apparent failure to enforce ordinances. It goes on to say that the village may be in violation of several city ordinances, and specifically points out the city's land use ordinance relating to residence for homeless people.
This location right now, it's kind of free-for-all as far as who's moving out there. People are setting up electrical areas with generators, cords running in the ground. Some people are building permanent structures. You have a lot of people living in a dense location. What's the control mechanism in place? Who's allowed to stay out there? Are there certain rules in place that can somebody actually be forced to leave that location if they're...
Mayor Ed Brady agreed with many of the concerns the Florida PBA had and did say he was aware of many of the issues. A report on Dignity Village prepared by the former county manager will be reviewed later this week by city commissioners, and Brady hopes solutions will be found.
So we are going to look at rules regarding tenting or camping, as well as maybe defining a maximum number of people who can be in the area.
Scabola and the Florida PBA say they brought these issues to the mayor's attention now because they are concerned the problem will get worse if more people start to populate Dignity Village. Reporting live in the newsroom, Jonathan Munoz, WUFT News.
Thanks, Jonathan. 2 former college students in Central Florida are suing, claiming their grades depended on them submitting to vaginal exams for a class on medical diagnostics. Their attorney says Valencia Community College has anatomically correct simulators for students to practice on, but some courses also use volunteers to practice with their transvaginal ultrasound tool. The lawsuit claims the 2 students were told live exams were not required for the course, but says they were pressured to take part and threatened when they complained.
They were told that they could go to another program or that their grades would be reduced and that they would be blacklisted within the medical community.
In a statement, the college says the program was voluntary, professional, and supervised by faculty in a controlled laboratory setting. But the college noted it is reviewing the practice. The lawsuit points out the students already get real-world practice, by learning to examine patients at hospitals.
A woman in Sarasota woke up to find a man sleeping on her couch with no idea how the stranger got there. Marty Pittman heard noises in the morning. She thought she was hearing raccoons until later, after hours of sleeping, she found she had an uninvited guest. She found not only a man sleeping on her couch, but also some wine he brought with him. Pittman quickly dialed 911, but before police could arrive, the man walked out her front door, but not without taking Pittman's wallet first. Pittman says she knows how the man got in, through a sliding door she usually leaves open. Police found the man and arrested him for burglary.
WUFT First at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, we'll have an update on the biker gangs in Waco, Texas, and what authorities are trying to do to stop that kind of violence that happened this past weekend.
Plus, Hillary Clinton is back in Iowa. We'll have what she's up to, plus more political news coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Police are still sorting through reports and sifting evidence after the deadly brawl between rival motorcycle gangs in Texas. The shootout left 9 dead, 18 wounded, and 170 bikers in jail. The suspects have been charged with engaging in organized crime, with the bond for each person set at $1 million. Police say there continue to be threats of other bikers going to Waco.
We would ask there to be some type of truce between whatever motorcycle gangs are involved. We would encourage them to try and be a little peaceful and let the bloodshed stop.
Police believe a turf war between rival biker gangs led to the confrontation, but they say the investigation into Sunday's shootout could take weeks. And we set aside extra time each Tuesday to dig a little deeper into political news.
Danny Mathio joins us with presidential campaign notes and more. Danny?
Ladies, Hillary Clinton is returning to Iowa, where the primary caucuses will be happening in less than 9 months. Hillary Clinton is back campaigning in Iowa. She began 2 days in the Hawkeye State by speaking at her first Iowa House Party of the 2016 campaign. Clinton met about 60 Democratic activists at a home in northern Iowa. Media were allowed to cover her opening remarks, but were asked to leave before the open discussion. And Clinton did not take questions from the press afterwards. Her opening touched on economics, asserting that the deck is stacked in favor of those at the top. And she spoke against the current campaign financing rules.
We also have to address the unaccountable dark money in politics. I think the Supreme Court made a grave error with its Citizens United decision. And I will do everything I can do to appoint Supreme Court justices who will protect the right to vote and not the right of billionaires to buy elections.
Clinton was also planning a roundtable with small business leaders in Cedar Falls, Iowa. She's scheduled to campaign in New Hampshire later in the week. Jeb Bush appeared at a town hall meeting in Iowa over the weekend. He spoke at a town hall gathering of 100 people at a small college in Dubuque. Bush said President Obama's policies have reduced America's role as world leader and created instability. He said the way to avoid needing American boots on the ground at every hotspot would be to engage the world so that, quote, our friends know that we have their back over the long haul and our enemies fear us a little bit. Jeb Bush may not be ready to decide just yet, but another Republican could join the presidential race soon. Senator Lindsey Graham told CBS this morning that he will announce his intentions on June 1st from his home state of South Carolina. He would have an advantage that early state and has been visiting others that vote early in the process. Graham has much more Washington experience than first-term Senators Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Marco Rubio, and would market himself as a conservative who can solve problems and get things done. After President Obama sent his first tweet from his new presidential account yesterday, he got a welcome message from a former POTUS. Bill Clinton tweeted, "Does that username stay with the office?" and included the hashtag asking for a friend. President Obama replied, "The handle comes with the House. Know anyone interested in @FLOTUS?" FLOTUS stands for First Lady of the United States, but no one knows what a female president's husband will be called. Sarah Palin's husband picked First Dude when she governed Alaska, and Bill Clinton once joked with Oprah that his Scottish friends want him to be First Laddie. 2 Nobel laureates will be among a group of 30 women to cross the DMZ between North Korea and South Korea. The symbolic March for Peace is planned for May 24th. The Korean Demilitarized Zone is the world's most fortified border, so activist crossings of the DMZ are rare, but this mission has been approved by both governments. The women hope to promote peace and show support for Korean reunification. Well, ladies, it looks like President Obama is having a lot of fun with his Twitter account. The White House recently released a statement saying that they hope this will cause more interaction between both the president and American citizens.
Yeah, I did get to see a couple of the @POTUS tweets. I thought they were so cute.
Especially the ones between Bill Clinton and even his wife. I thought those were really cute. He's making it his own.
Yeah, of course. And it looks like he's definitely following some different people. It looks like he's following a lot of different Chicago sports teams, which is where he's from. So it looks like he's having a lot of fun with it.
All right. Well, thank you, Danny. And we'll have some more storms moving through north central Florida this afternoon.
Rebecca, is the rain going to continue throughout the rest of the week?
Molly, Marie, good news is rain chances are going down, but right now showers and storms, yeah, they're still out there. I'll track these for you and let you know when you can put the umbrellas away after the break. Right now, but rain chances will be decreasing for the rest of this week. I'm UF forecaster Rebecca Kopelman. Welcome back. I do still want to track the storms that are out there right now. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for Duval County, a very, very slow moving cell right now producing a lot of lightning and some heavy rainfall. It is really nearly stationary, moving slowly to the south and east, will impact the east side of Jacksonville, but further to the south, closer to home, there are some cells in Union and Bradford County, even portions of Clay County, producing some frequent lightning and some rainfall. Those cells are really starting to fall apart, and a little bit closer to Gainesville, there are just a few tiny cells, but most of this activity is going to be staying to the east of I-75 for this evening and fading away in the late evening hours after about 9 o'clock. But some areas didn't see a lot of rain, which was Gainesville today, and the heat was on. The numbers up top, that's what it felt like outdoors, and already by 1 o'clock we were at 91 degrees with that heat index, and by 4 we even touched 96 degrees with what it felt like outside because we didn't get any relief from those showers and storms. But it was because of a strong westerly flow that sent the Gulf sea breeze inland, and it's starting to try and meet up with the Atlantic, but that's why most of the activity is going to stay to the east of I-75 for the rest of this evening, and most areas will be dry by the midnight hour. Then things turn muggy. Temperatures are only going to drop to about 70 degrees for most areas. 70 in Gainesville, 70 degrees in Ocala, 73 in St. Augustine, and there could even be some areas of patchy fog by morning. But things are changing and rain chances are going to start to decrease, partially due to this cold front that's on the way. It is helping to increase the flow out of the west, so that's why the Gulf sea breeze is moving inland, and that's going to be the theme for the next couple of days. Behind the front, though, is some slightly drier air, but this high pressure system building in, it's going to help to send rain chances further east for the latter part of this week. But let's get through tomorrow first. There's still a possibility of a few showers and storms, mainly after the 2 o'clock hour near I-75. But the bulk of the activity will stay east of the I-75 corridor because of those strong westerly winds, and that's where it will remain through Wednesday evening closer to I-95. That's going to be a similar story on Thursday as this front starts to push closer to the area, but it's a bit more widespread on Thursday. Then when the high pressure builds back in, winds shift once again out of the east, and that will send rain chances closer to the Nature Coast Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So your 6th day, it's starting to improve. Rain chances do start to go down later on this week, and by Friday, I think we could even see a little bit of dry time. And for your Memorial Day weekend, hey, yeah, rain chances, they stay low. You can track with us at ufweather.org. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. The SEC baseball tournament began today.
Our own sports anchor Jonathan Perez will have the details for us.
Molly Marie, a couple of games are already finished, and some teams, their season is over. So when we come back, I'll have more on those games. The Gators earned a bye. Their opponent should be determined before the night is over. I'll take you inside Gator sports and more right after the break. Welcome back to sports. I'm Jonathan Perez. It's finally the postseason for college baseball as the SEC tournament got underway today. Alabama and Ole Miss were the first teams that took the field, and it was scoreless through 4 innings, but the Alabama Crimson Tide, they scored their first 2 runs of the game in the top of the 5th. The Rebels were able to bounce back in the bottom half of the frame as they scored 1 run, but that's all they could produce. The Crimson Tide added 4 more runs in the 7th as they downed the Rebels 6-1. Up next, Alabama takes on Texas A&M tomorrow. The Missouri Tigers and the South Carolina Gamecocks also took the field in the first round. Missouri scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 2nd off of a single and a sac fly. The Tigers scored again in the 4th off of this RBI single to make it a 3-run game. Then in the bottom of the 8th, the Tigers added 2 more insurance runs as they beat South Carolina 5-1. Up next, Missouri will face number 2 Vanderbilt. Meanwhile, there are some teams that will still get underway later on today. Number 8 Kentucky plays number 9 Auburn at 5:30, and the winner goes on to play number 1 team in the conference, LSU. As we said earlier, Tennessee and Arkansas play later tonight, and they'll face Florida tomorrow. The Florida Gator baseball team starts its postseason run tomorrow in the SEC tournament. The Gators secured the number 4 seed in the tourney after posting a 19-11 conference record. Florida will take the winner of the Arkansas and Tennessee game, which starts tonight at 8:30. The Gators did not play the Razorbacks this year, but grabbed 2 games of the series against the Volunteers. Over on the ice in the NHL playoffs, the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the New York Rangers last night, trying to even the series after dropping Game 1 on Saturday. It was a crucial game for the Lightning, and they took care of business as they beat the Rangers by a score of 6-2. The night was highlighted by Tampa's Tyler Johnson as he completes the hat trick and scores the Lightning's first 3 goals. Johnson leads the NHL with 11 goals in the postseason. The series is now split, and Game 3 is in Tampa on Wednesday. We're deep in the NBA playoffs as 4 teams remain as they try and capture the NBA title. But 14 other teams, their journey for next year's championship can begin tonight with the NBA Draft Lottery. The 2 top prospects in this year's draft include 2 freshmen, Duke's Jahlil Okafor. He helped lead the Blue Devils as they captured the national championship this year, and Kentucky's Karl Anthony Towns. Okafor averaged 17.3 points this year with 8.5 rebounds, and during the tournament he averaged 15 points per game and 5.6 rebounds. Towns averaged 14.2 points per game and 6.8 rebounds during the big dance this year. Taking a look at the teams in this year's lottery and their percentage for getting the top pick in the draft, the Timberwolves have a 25% chance to claim the number 1 pick, and the Knicks are next with a 19.9 chance. Taking a look at Florida's teams, the Magic have an 8.8% chance, and the Heat with a 1.1 chance of getting the number 1 overall pick. And finally, the 14th team in the lottery is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Billy Donovan and the Thunder have a 0.5% chance of getting the top pick. Molly Marie, big news coming out of the NFL. The Patriots decided to accept all the penalties. They're not going to appeal any of the punishment that was given to them for Deflategate.
Do we know why they decided not to appeal?
Well, owner Robert Kraft and Roger Goodell, the commissioner, have a very good relationship, and Robert Kraft said he respects Goodell's decision if it's for the better of the league.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, Jonathan. We'll have one last check on those rain chances after the break. Stay with us.
A few cells still out there, but most areas will be dry by the 10 o'clock hour. Then rain chances, they start to drop for the rest of this week. Dry, mostly dry for your Memorial Day weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thank you at home for watching WUFT First at 5, or production from UF's Innovation News Center.
We'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. BBC World Music is next, and don't forget, WUFT News is always on at WUFT.org. Good night.